everyone, it's Thomas here, and we are on episode 3 of the Aquatlantis 200 by 70 mega build, the lighting episode, where we get to talk about the lighting on this tank, which is, you know, important because I want to be able to see the beautiful discus I intend to put in here, and it's, you know, going to be black water, and I was going to put some plants maybe, so the lighting matters a lot. Let's talk about it. Here we go. Now, normally I would probably omit or remove any standard lighting that came with an aquarium kit and upgrade it with something more substantial, maybe more fun, with more options, that would be better at doing the things that I love, like growing coral or plants and so on and so forth. But I really wanted to make sure that this Aquatlantis tank kept its extremely slick look. I love the way the canopy is set up, and I didn't want to have to potentially do any kind of modifications or remove the canopy in order to use a different kind of light fixture. So I thought maybe I would give Aquatlantis' LED offering a try. I really like playing with new technology. The specs on the lights looked pretty good, so I figured why not, because they really come and make this system super cohesive, right? You can't really see that the lights are in there, which I think is pretty amazing. So let me show you what these things can do. The LED light fixtures are built into the two strips that are made out of aluminum that actually hold the canopy covers. They're super lightweight. They're very easy to remove from the tank if I ever need to do maintenance and stuff like that. And also, they're incredibly well hidden. In fact, I can't see the lights from any angle other than when I'm bent down looking up into the aquarium. And even then, once this tank is full of water, you're not going to be able to see them at all. And aesthetically, that is perfect. Like, I can't really ask for a lot more in terms of hiding the lighting on an aquarium system, so I'm pretty smitten. There's actually, believe it or not, 4 LED fixtures in there too. The two strips hold 4 separate LED fixtures, and it is gorgeous. Okay, so they hide well. Pish posh, you say. Lights also have to look good illuminated. Yeah, I know. I was just getting to that. Just give me a second. Hold your seahorses. See what I did there? Aquarium channel. Seahorse. These fixtures are visually very bright. At 44 watts power consumption per fixture, that gives me a total of 176 watts on this aquarium, which should translate to a ton of light output, and it definitely looks crazy bright, so I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case when we whip out the old par meter. The light itself looks to be kind of like a crisp white. It's about 7,800 Kelvin according to Aquatlantis' website, which is another reason I thought it would be a really great option for this black water system. It should cut through that black water pretty well. The fixtures are comprised of cool white, warm white, red, and blue LEDs, which really have a very nice effect overall. I'm really happy with how it looks empty. Obviously, I can't wait to get some water in it and see how it looks then, but let's bust out that par meter and see how much par we're getting out of this thing. Oh yes. Smashy, smashy. Nice. So at the bottom of the aquarium, which is a solid, you know, almost 30 inches from the light fixtures, probably even a little bit more, we're getting 103.7 par at the bottom. The bottom. Halfway up the tank, 160 par. And at the top of the tank, right under a fixture, 260 par. That's not bad. Now, I can't wait to see exactly what the par spread is like with these fixtures and their lens caps across the tank with water in it. But this is pretty good. So originally, I wasn't sure how I wanted to control the light fixtures due to just complete negligence of my own. I didn't realize right away that Aquatlantis actually makes an LED controller for their aquariums that you can purchase separately. It's called the Luminous. I don't know a ton about it other than it looks very easy to use, and I no longer want to use analog timers on this tank. I was thinking of using analog or digital timers, but I think I'm gonna give their offering a try and order up some of those luminous LED controllers for this tank so it automatically goes on and off. Then I don't have to worry about that. simple, easy. I feel silly for not just ordering them with the tank the first time when I did that. I make mistakes and oversights, and I admit them. Oops. So now that we've taken a pretty good look at the lighting, which I'm excited to see with water in this tank, see how it all, illuminates. I do want to cover a loose end from a previous episode, and that has to do with heating. If you remember, I talked about the heating choice I originally wanted for the tank were going to be some inline heaters from Hydor, and for a few reasons, simply weren't going to work on this system. I did choose an alternative in the form of a heater I haven't used before, and that is the AquaHeat titanium heater. Now, I've picked up 3 of these 300-watt heaters, although I intend to only use 2 of them to start off. According to the heater guide from AquaHeat, 600 watts of their heaters should be able to raise 250 gallons of water up to 25 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, we probably don't have to raise the temperature quite that high, and this is technically 280 gallons, roughly. So I'm thinking that 2 of these heaters should be fine, but I do have the 3rd on backup just in case they're not enough. So the AquaHeat titanium heaters have a digital thermostat, which is going to sit outside of the water. I'm probably going to mount it inside of the stand. They've also got a temperature probe and then the heating element itself. Now, one thing I actually kind of liked about having a titanium heater is, one, they are shatterproof. They're made out of metal, so accidental breakage of this heater is going to be near impossible. I also really love the fact that it fits the stainless steel and gray theme we've got going inside of the tank, although that's really not even secondary, maybe tertiary, if I said that correctly, to the actual importance of the function of the heater. But it's a nice little addition. And then I love the fact that the heating probe is actually separate of the heating element. That way I can have it sitting further away from the actual heating element inside of the tank, which has some benefits. So one of those benefits is I shouldn't be getting any false readings, which would trip the thermostat more often because the heater is heating up the water immediately around the probe. The probe is tripping off, but then it's dissipating because the rest of the tank isn't quite up to heat, up to the correct temperature. So it causes more cycles. Because I can have it separate, we should have less cycles, and hopefully that means extended life for the actual heater and thermostat themselves. And also it should just equal more even and consistent heating throughout the aquarium. So 2 great bonuses. So let's get these on the tank. Pretty glad I left a little bit of space on this side of the tank, because otherwise this would be pretty difficult. I'm also lucky I'm not a very big dude, because I didn't leave very much space. Now, one thing I've noticed now that I've got these installed is that the cables aren't quite as long as I would have liked them to be. So instead of mounting these boxes in the stand, I may actually mount them up towards the top of the tank, so I've got a little bit more leeway with how far into the tank the heaters can be put and how far away from the heaters I can actually get those probes. Because as it sits right now, this would just barely be making it into the cabinet, and that means the heaters and probes aren't going to be very far apart from each other. There is some space, which is nice, and also they're right at the top of the tank, and I think I would like to get them in there just a little bit more, just for safety's sake. I mean, they'll be submersed, but I'd rather have them completely submersed if possible. So we'll see what I do there. For now, I will just allow it to dangle behind the tank. So lastly in this episode, I just want to address the amount of circulation that's on this aquarium. With the 2 Eheim Pro 4 600s at 330 gallons per hour each, I'm only going to have 660 gallons per hour of circulation on this tank as is, which is roughly 2.5 times turnover for the tank per hour, which isn't a lot. And I'd actually like to have quite a bit more flow, especially for surface agitation, since the inflow and outflow set that I'm using is permanently pointed downwards into the tank, which is just fine because I actually don't mind having that water inside the aquarium circulated by the filters, but I do want that surface agitation. So what I've actually done is I've gone ahead and picked up a familiar friend. This is a Current USA E-Flux wave pump. And I actually used these pumps, if you remember, back on the 265 gallon mega build, and I really liked how they operated and how well they worked. So I picked up the roughly 2,000 gallon per hour version, and I'm going to be using this controllable pump on this side of the aquarium. And that's going to basically be near the top of the tank, going across, blowing across the top of the tank to create that surface agitation and add a whole bunch of extra oxygenation to the system. So I'm just gonna go ahead and get that set up on there. And I'm lucky in that I actually have extended pump cables in case I find that the pump cable that came with it won't allow me to get the equipment down into the stand. But I remember from the 265 that they actually have very generous length pump cables so that you can pretty much get them anywhere you need them inside of the system. So, ooh, look familiar? I think so. I will say, I really don't think that I'm going to have to use them at 100% on this system. I'm not expecting this to function like a river system at all. Although I haven't kept discus, I'm pretty sure they don't want a ton of flow. I mean, proper circulation is definitely key, but I don't see them exactly being a river fish. So I'm probably not going to run it at the full 2,000 gallons per hour, but I do definitely want to try to get as much flow from this end of the tank to the other end as possible and create as much surface agitation as I can for oxygenation. As you can see, there is a ton of cable on these pumps. I definitely won't need the extension. I could drag this through the back of the stand and hold it up the front to here anyway, so I've definitely got enough. Well, there you have it. On the next episode, we're probably gonna be starting the good old decorating on this tank, because I wanna make this a beautiful little habitat for those discus. You'll see what I have in store. Maybe it's natural stuff, maybe it's wacky castles. I'll just let you stew on that. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this episode of our Aquatlantis Fusion Mega Build. I'm really excited. If you have any questions or comments, drop those down in the comments section below. I'd love to get back to you. And also, feel free to check our Facebooks out if you got the social medias. Love to get to you there. Maybe check out our Instagram. We got a lot of aquatic eye candy for you. And, you know, maybe subscribe, and then you can see how this turns out and the next build, which we haven't really officially announced yet, but it's going to be a lot of fun. And also, we've got the high-tech planet tank that we've got an update coming out on, and the low-tech tank we had an update come out on. Lots of fun stuff. Join me so we can keep on tanking together with big tanks and little tanks and medium tanks, all the tanks. I think the smell of like the silicone on a new aquarium for aquarists is the same as like cracking up a new book and smelling it for somebody who's obsessed with books. I think it's the equivalent. Correct me if I'm wrong. Comment down below, let me know. Do you like the smell of a brand new aquarium silicone?